What is up there, beautiful people, and welcome to another edition of Just Trending News. So today we're speaking everything that's related to the kingdom of Eswatini or Swaziland, and also the Sibiya that has been called for by King Mswati III. If you don't know who King Mswati III is, he is the king of the kingdom of Eswatini, and also the last standing absolute monarch in Africa. On the whole African continent, he is the one, okay? So King Mswati III has invited all of his subjects to a meeting today to discuss the political crisis in Eswatini, where pro-democracy activists have been clashing with security forces during the past few weeks over their demand for economic reforms and also political reforms, okay? So according to an Eswatini government statement, Mswati has called for an open forum discussion called a Sibiya, where his subjects would be able to voice their concerns. So obviously we all know that there largely isn't any freedom of speech in Swaziland, so I don't really know how the king anticipated this would go down, and especially since he's been ignoring all of his loyal subjects since he was inaugurated, if I can say that, or given power in 1986 when his father, King Sopuza, passed on, and when he obviously took over the reins of Swaziland. So since then there has been no economic reform in Swaziland, there's been no political reform, there's been no freedom of speech, and there's also been oppression of opposition parties and anyone who is opposing the absolute monarch, which is himself entirely, okay? So people are basically boycotting this Sibiya in Swaziland, I'm assuming because they're upset and they're mad that, their king has basically left them on red for all of these weeks and months where they've been protesting about, economic reform, where they've been protesting about political reform, right? So what's happening today in Swaziland instead is a peaceful protest where people are protesting. I think it's the second largest city in Swaziland. It's called Manzini. People are protesting in Manzini, and this is a peaceful protest that has gone violent. Obviously, it has gone violent because the king and the king's forces and the army do not know how to respect basic human rights and the right for people to protest and voice their concerns. So there are videos that are being shared all over Twitter of the army opening fire on people, the army beating people, and it's absolutely so sad to see. But I must say, it's sad to see, but it's not surprising because, as I've said, this is what the king has been doing for decades. So Maxwell Dlamini tweeted that the peaceful mother of all marches have started in Manzini, and the police and the army have started shooting at protesters and violently dispersing them. So there's been a lot of arrests by the army as well as by the police in Manzini. There are pictures everywhere on Twitter of a large police force and a large army force and people armed with weapons, obviously, and people obviously, these people trying to actually, run away from what's happening and to try to get out of this situation alive. So that is currently what's happening in Swaziland. They're boycotting a Sibiya, which is a meeting that has been called by the king. The audacity, right? The audacity. They're boycotting that meeting that he has called, and also they are, protesting in Manzini with what has been dubbed the mother of all marches, and it is a protest that was supposed to be a peaceful protest, or was a peaceful protest by the people, but has now been turned violent by the police force and also by the army force, as they're violently dispersing people, shooting at people, kicking people, and beating people. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you can show your support for what is happening in Swaziland, please do, because mainstream media is mum about the whole situation. Mainstream media is not saying anything. It's not covered anywhere. And I read an article saying that the reason why mainstream media is mum about all of what's happening in Swaziland, is because the country is tiny, so it's petite, and also because, there have been these protests in the past, and I think mainstream media is just anticipating that, they'll all boil over as all have done in the past before. So that is what's happening. Please share this video, like, comment if you like my content, subscribe to my content. I'm so sorry if I was rambling. I'll see you in my next upload, and goodbye, lovely.